Hello, and I think we're live. Welcome to the Between Two Wheels podcast. This is your host, Tyler Janke. Episode, I think it's 74. And like I had said yesterday briefly, this is the 1-year anniversary of launching this podcast. We did it July 8th of 2018. And we've been going steady since. Obviously, we've been doing a little average more than one a week. And with that, it's not easy, but it's fun. And we've been trying to do a breakdown of local racing in Northern California. We obviously covered the Amgen Tour of California when it came through. So we do a little bit more than just local races. We try to do the UCI. And, you know, I like to do, and Chris and Curt and I, we've gone over World Tour racing, and we're going to continue to do that. So thanks for being a part of this, and we hope to keep you informed and going as the year comes. All right, so episode 74, we have the Tour de France Stage 2. We'll do a brief overview here. Basically, there was another sprint stage that's somewhat boring. And by the way, I hope the volume is better on this one. The other one, we didn't quite get the... it was popping, so it was going over we've set the limits back a little bit. Hope that's working, and I'll try to keep an eye on it today. And if so, we'll try to set that back even more. Stage 2, we had 182.5 kilometers from Meyron Saint-Germain to La Roche-sur-Yon. I think I mentioned this yesterday in the close. It's basically a counterclockwise loop. And pretty boring as far as the profile goes. They had a Cat 4 climb about 28 kilometers in, 1 kilometer at 3.9%. There was a sprint at the 132 kilometer point, bonus points, which the bonus points are time. So you're going to get time bonuses, 3, 2, 1 at certain spots, and those could come in handy, you know, for especially, I think the tour's thought on those early on was we're going to give these sprinters, it's going to be a little bit more competitive. We'll give them a chance to get bonus times. We saw that with Rohan Dennis in the Giro this year. He was able to get a sprint bonus, and then he ended up with the pink jersey for quite a while. So anyway, that came at 168.5 kilometers, 20K from the finish. Fairly flat other than that. So how did the day plan out? Well, you had 3 get in the break early. It was Dion Smith of Wanty Group Gobert from New Zealand, Sylvain Chavanel from Direct Energy for France, and Michael Gogol of Trek Segafredo. So Trek Segafredo, the only World Tour team on that contingent of 3 breakaways. They got a gap about 3 minutes, held that out there. Dion Smith then took the prize of a 1 point over the Côte de Pozog. This tied in with yesterday's winner, or yesterday's KOM climbers jersey, Le Denois. And so then it came down to basically who's going to be the, who gets the higher placing on the stage today that's going to be able to wear the jersey going forward. So Dion Smith ends up with that. He ends up getting the leaders or the climbers jersey. He's going to be able to wear that tomorrow. Possibly, I don't think there's any KOM spots for the TGD, so for at least 2 days. And I think it's the first New Zealand rider to get any kind of jersey at the Tour de France. There haven't been a lot of them over the years. Nathan Dahlberg's one I know of because he had this issue with the 7-Eleven team coming in the 80s where it was a last-minute thing and he got called over. Bob Roll wrecked in training the day before, so they were able to call in Nathan Dahlberg. He hadn't slept. He gets over there. He ends up getting dropped on the team time trial a few days in, if not days 1 through 3. Anyway. Just a side note there. So Dion Smith ends up beating Le Denois in the final. At least he was placed higher than him, so he gets the leaders, or not the leaders jersey, the climbers jersey. Soon after the KOM, though, Smith and Gogol, they both ditched the ludicrous idea of trying to be out front with Sylvain Chavanel, and they went back to the group, leaving Chavanel out there all alone, doing his French thing, flashing his pearly whites all day. And, you know, this is his 18th Tour de France, so if he finishes it, I think he'll be the most finishes in the Tour de France, beating out George Hincapie. So he's got that going for him, and I'm not sure if he's retiring at the end of the year, but he's been, you know, racing since 2000 or before. Then we had a sprint spot today. At the sprint, Chavanel was still out front, so he took the maximum points. But behind him, you got to finally see Sagan kind of gearing up for what he's going to be doing now which is going for the green jersey. He gets second place. Fernando Gaviria doesn't look like he makes much of an effort and just easily holds his wheel. Christoph fourth, Arnaud Démare fifth. Greipel down to 10th place, so he's kind of making a go at it as well. Then the bonus point, the time bonuses, you had Geraint Thomas ended up taking that, and when he took that, it was basically his. It looks like you may have the one chance here for him of getting in for the lead, because he's taking it seriously. Every little free second he can, he's trying to take it for the team. So he's either like hedging his bets that Froome's not going to do so good, or he's at least, otherwise why is he getting free seconds here? But anyway, he's maybe he's hoping that Froome keeps crashing out. So all right, so then after the bonus point, or even during that time, today was crash field, and a lot of roundabouts. You see these roundabouts coming in now with there was Dan Martin had tweeted out the concentration of the actual roundabouts per 1,000 people, and the highest concentration was that found in France. So interesting or not, these guys are going through a lot of roundabouts. There's a lot of wrecks. Adam Yates goes down. He needed a bike change. Luis Leon Sanchez of Astana, he crashed badly and had to abandon, which hurts his team for the TTT tomorrow and obviously later on in the mountains. Gourmet of Trek, he crashed out. He was the first at the 90-kilometer point. He gets the notoriety of being the first person to abandon the tour. Arnaud Démare punctured both wheels. His teammate came up there, handed both wheels. His teammate's just left with a frame set, holding it, waiting for the team car to come by. Kittel punctured around 6K to go. He had to give up for the final. He wasn't able to contest that. Luke Durbridge took a spill on the run-in. He went down hard and then jumped up and ran to the side of the road as other riders are coming through. It looked like he was just trying to get out of the way. If he's not doing too well, then in the final also you had Daryl Impey. He went down in the final crash, and it looked like he went down in his face. So that team is looking for some time that they're going to try to make up time tomorrow in the TTT. So it'll be interesting to see what they are able to do there. And then Lawson Craddock, hanging on the back all day. He appeared to kind of sit up in the last 10 kilometers and just ride in easy. We'll talk a little bit about him later. I don't know that he's got how much of a chance he has, but with the time trial coming up, team time trial, to actually hang on. However, the big ordeal took place in the last 1 or 2 kilometers. The big right-hander, all the teams are queuing up, Quick Step's up front, Sagan's up front, and they take this right-hander and they go down. Daryl Impey's kind of in the middle of that, South African national champion riding for Michelin Scott. Goes down, looks like it goes down face first, and it splits the group enough. Gaviria goes down, he's in yellow. He gets up really quickly and tries to jump on and catch up. He does not catch up. He's not worried, it's in the last 3K, he's not really worried about time loss, but he wants to get his placing high enough so that Sagan won't overtake him for yellow. As it came down to, you had a few sprinters up there. You had Cabrelli, Sagan, Démare, Greipel, Christoph, Degenkolb, but you didn't have Groenewegen, you didn't have Gaviria, a few other guys missed out. And the result was Sagan ends up taking the win. It looks like it's kind of somewhat easy as a gradual uphill, as I had mentioned yesterday. And so Sagan gets it. He easily comes past Démare, who looks like he maybe went a little too early. But then Sonny Cabrelli makes a good kick, and it looks like maybe he was wrongly geared. So he's making a little bit of an effort to get up there, and just slugging his way, not quite getting past Sagan. There's a bike throw at the end. Sagan wins it over Cabrelli. So you got Sagan, Cabrelli, Démare, Greipel, Christoph, DuPont. Those are your top 6. Valverde ends up in 7th places, and Degenkolb in 9th. Degenkolb makes a complaint to the officials about Sagan's riding. And Sagan, look, there's all kinds of comments about, hey, how come he's not going down? He hasn't had a wreck since, I don't know, 2010 Volta. Is that when he got hit by the moto? He obviously crashed with Cavendish last year, but he didn't go down. So he does have this ability to stay upright. I don't know if his riding, though, is necessarily always the safest. Even for the sprint spot, he takes a slot through and comes through, and it's a little it's a little off-putting actually to see. So you know, Sagan's out there. His fans love him because he can do amazing things on a bike, and I think that's one of the visibilities of not going down is because of what he can do on the bike. But maybe it's the idea of him being an aggressive rider, you know, on the offense instead of the defense. He's always looking for those outs, which is great, but sometimes it looks like he might impede other riders, which is what Degenkolb complained about today. Didn't get any relief from that. All right, so then Sagan wins. He ends up getting in the yellow jersey as well. Gaviria, you know, all those guys went down. They get to be as the same time as the winner. So there's not a big deal there, but Fernando Gaviria just comes out of first place. He's in second now with 6 points. Sonny Gabrielli at third. Sylvain Chavanel fourth. They had Kittel at fourth, but he had flatted and not contested the final, so they had, I think, mixed him in with all that action, you know, the wreck in 1 to 2K, and thought that he was part of that, but they corrected that. Philippe Gilbert in fifth. Geraint Thomas in sixth. He moves up a little bit. Oliver Nason, Christophe, Degenkolb, and DuPont. Now let's look at the team rankings, because those are what they go off of the team time trial for. So first place, you have Quick Step, Wanty Group, Gobert, Astana, Boro Hansgrohe, Bahrain Merida, all the way down. And so the teams are going to be going in reverse order. Now I saw something else, so maybe they've changed a few of these things, because I thought I saw Bora as the #1 team, that they were going last. And now they're showing them going first, so we'll just see. I don't want to definitely say which teams are. We'll get a list of that. But Mitchelton Scott's going to be going first. And then you have Team Sky, Movistar, Groupama, BMC Racing, Team AEF Education first, UAE, AG2R. And I'm just listing those off because those are your big hitters, and sometimes those teams like to go last so that they have a good idea of what they're doing at the checks, and you usually get, you know, a little bit of a help from that. But Mitchelton Scott, now they don't have, they're not the team that they used to be for the team time trial, but they still are pretty good. And Luke Dubridge going down yesterday did not actually help very much. Otherwise, you have Team Sky and BMC going one of the first few teams, and actually Movistar is pretty good as well. But BMC, you know, has won 2 out of the 3 team time trials that they've had this year, and Team Sky has won the other. Those 2 teams go at it. Now the team that, you know, is always up there, Team Sunweb, they do pretty good in this as well, and they are going right about in the middle of the lot. They're 9th ranked on Team GC, so they'll be going in the middle, and good chance for them tomorrow to make up some ground. Also, you know, you're getting Quick Step still in the mix, even though they're 6 seconds out. They just have to, you know, they still may get a chance, or, you know, you may get Sky winning this and putting Geraint Thomas into the yellow jersey, which will be an interesting little item. All right, things that make you go, Lawson Craddock today, holding on to the field, was pretty impressive. I heard there was a note about him yesterday, and they were saying that his teammates were riding next to him, and that every time the group slowed down, he was cussing and cursing, because he says it's more difficult actually slowing down all the time. I think it's just anytime you're putting stress on the bars. So maybe today he was just giving himself some space in the back, kind of doing the Steve Cummings thing of just hanging on the back. And every once in a while you'd see him get dropped, but he'd make it back up. So obviously there's some tension there, and his ability to ride and hold the bars is going to be a problem. So with that said, I am anticipating him having actually a lot of trouble in the time trial tomorrow. The team time trial, it's 35K I think, and it's not flat. So there's actually some undulation, there's some corners, and he's going to, you know, not be the one driving it. It's going to be difficult for him to get in those bars, and he's going to be up and out of into the wind, and plus he's going to probably be trying to just rotate on the back, not doing much, and that's going to be a lot of problem. And if he's having trouble today coming off the back just a little bit, even though he's kind of doing it as a strategy, he's going to have a real hard time tomorrow in the team time trial. Now, with that said, he could come off and finish and be fine, but he's got to make it for the cutoff, and at a short time, I think it's, you know, a certain percentage of the winner, usually 25%. I could be wrong on what they're having on that, but he's got to be able to hang on long enough, and then the team is obviously going full bore, and when they're going full out, he is going to have a tough time being able to do that himself. So he's got to hang on long enough and then still drive it to the finish to be able to continue on, and then hopefully, you know, he's able to recover enough. look, it sucks because he went down, first stage, and so he's doing what he can to hang on and to continue on and hopefully get better. He also has a thing where he's going to be doing, and you can look at it on Twitter. Basically, he's donating $100 or $200 for every stage he hangs on to a velodrome in Texas. I think it got damaged in Hurricane Harvey in Houston. So he's going to do that, and he wants other people to match it. So if you want to do that and you want to give some money to a velodrome, that's a good idea. Other things that just came to mind here was there's on Twitter, there's some comparisons to soccer, and I mentioned it yesterday about you see the World Cup players going down with an ankle injury, pretending, and teams come over and they kick them off in the stretcher, and then they're immediately back. And then you see Lawson Craddock, who's playing the tough guy, and black eye, faces, cracked shoulder, and he's going on. And it was funny to see, there's people that get all worked up over their sports, and so there was people on Twitter today getting all worked up over the fact that this comparison was made, and how dare you make that comparison? Your team on soccer is just doing what they would do within the rules, trying to bend them enough to help their team. Falling down is not helping your team. I don't think that's the reason for the comparison. The reason for the comparison is to make fun of soccer or football, and how these guys are try to be tough guys, but they're not. And part of the thing is theatrics. Falling down, pretending to be hurt. You don't pretend to be hurt in cycling. There's plenty to joke about in cycling. Tour de Pharmacy has come out, and that's making fun of the fact that there's a drug problem that's been in the sport for a long time. Those two guys in Spain in 1996, it's on YouTube, where they're spinning around trying to fight each other, two climbers. That's funny. Okay, and those are guys in Lycra shaving their legs. We do this, but those are things to make fun of. We don't get timeouts. All these other sports, they get to sit on the bench, they get a halftime, they get quarter breaks. Soccer gets to lay down on the ground and squirm worse than a 2-year-old who's been stung by a bee. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so the idea there, guys, you're missing it, is we're making fun of your sport, okay? We're making fun of the fact that you're Vlade Divac's, flopping in basketball type of thing. It's funny, okay? And what Lawson Craddock was doing was being a hard man and being a tough guy and finishing a race. He wasn't, hey, next time you get kicked in the shins, suck it up. All right, one last thing. Richie Porte agrees to a 2-year deal with Trek Segafredo. So, BMC is kind of going out of the way. And I don't know that Jim Akowitz has come up with a new sponsor as of yet. So that's still out there, and so Richie's decided to bail, and he's signing with Trek. I also saw Greg Van Avermaet has said he has not signed with anybody yet. So I don't know if it's kind of the EF Education First last year, and what they had. And anyway, I hope those guys find a team and we're able to get some relief. And you don't like to see anybody basically losing part of their livelihood, or the team's already reduced enough with you lost one rider basically out of the World Tour going from 8 to 9, and so teams were cutting their roster accordingly. And now every year it's the same old thing. You possibly have teams going away. So it's just the economics of the sport, and we've talked about that. Check out some of our podcasts from last year, and we talked about economics of cycling. All right, tomorrow, stage 3, Monday, July 9th, from Cholet to Cholet. So they stay right in the same town. It's a big loop there. 35-kilometer team time trial. Look for those times for when the stage will be live, because they are catering to the World Cup a little bit. So stage 1 was really early. Stage 2 today was a little bit more normal. I'm not sure about stage 3 tomorrow. But 35 kilometers, and then the day after that you have a normal stage going 192, then Wednesday 203. So we'll talk about those as well. Once again, thanks for joining in. This is once again on YouTube Live. Let us know how that goes. It doesn't look like anybody's really been joining in. Possibly we'll have to announce what time we're going to be doing it, so that it's a little bit easier for you to join in with the chat. And I'm hoping for going forward we can get some of these times right around after the stage is concluded. So you guys might be at work, want to just log on real quick there, and I'll try to do that as well. Not going to happen tomorrow because I'm busy with my job tomorrow. It's got court. I go to court for a living. I'm an attorney. So, and then Wednesday the same thing, but I think Tuesday same thing. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday probably not going to happen. Stages 3, 4, and 5, but we'll look for you on Thursday. Thanks for joining in.